strongly cautioned. Please secure all personal items.
Where your emotions come alive.
You can scream as much as you want, and nobody cares.
Your senses are challenged at every turn.
You don't know where you're at. You're just along for the ride.
The child in you becomes excited again.
I can just totally give up all sense of control here. I can let go of that and become a 4-year-old again.
Real life popularity is out of control. Every year, more than 300 million Americans line up to be scared witless on a scream machine. That's more people than attend professional football, baseball, basketball, and hockey games combined.
Absolutely great. It was fabulous.
Great. Scream machines come in dozens of variations. There are towering rides that jerk you up, drop you down, or throw you from side to side. But few people will dispute that the roller coaster is still the king of thrill rides.
You haven't lived until you've ridden a roller coaster.
It's a great big adrenaline rush, and that is something you don't get sitting behind a computer.
But these aren't cheap thrills. With an adult ticket averaging $40 a day, the amusement park business has grown into a $10 billion a year industry. Theme parks are now locked in an arms race, competing to build the biggest, baddest, most terrifying machines.
It's well known within the industry that you want to have the biggest and the tallest in your park.
The competition is pushing thrill rides to dizzying new heights. Millennium Force at Cedar Point in Ohio stands an astonishing 310 feet high. Only a few years ago, no coaster topped 200 feet.
It's one of the biggest rushes I think I've ever felt. I could compare it to riding like in a stunt plane.
Superman the Escape at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California shoots thrill seekers from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 7 seconds flat.
It's just like a drag race times 10. It's like, you just like, boom, and you're gone.
And at Great America in San Jose, California, Stealth does away with conventional seats. Riders soar through the air while lying horizontally.
It does feel like you're flying, and I can't explain it any other way. It truly is a flying coaster.
If thrills are a drug, then roller coasters have produced a cult following of adrenaline junkies.
I've been on 354 different coasters so far. I'm looking for 400 soon.
Rick Turner is a 40-year-old coaster crazy and proud of it.
I believe I've been on at least 200 different roller coasters in several different countries.
Marlon Scott is a 39-year-old adventure addict from Orlando. Both men are members of ACE, American Coaster Enthusiasts. It's a worldwide organization of more than 6,000 people who take their love of coasters to the extreme.
I have driven through snowstorms, through rainstorms, through blizzards. I've driven all night, not getting any sleep in order to make it to a new coaster that's opening.
And here we go. A lot of times we'll travel to 2 or 3 parks in one day, so you're driving all night, not getting any sleep. You're either running on caffeine or you're running on pure adrenaline, one or the other.
Just as movie critics get a sneak preview of a new film, ACE members get ERT, or exclusive ride time, on a new coaster.
And very nice, polished dog.
It means they ride continuously. No waiting in line. Park owners hope this will help create a buzz about a new ride.
You know, you get 20 coaster enthusiasts in a room, you ask them what their favorite coaster is, you'll probably get about 18 to 20 different responses.
What do you think? It's pretty impressive. Actually, I like the way they did it.
Coaster fanatics also have their own lingo. If a ride proves to be too much for acers to stomach, they'll produce what's known as a protein spill.
A protein spill is a politically correct way of referring to somebody who's lost their lunch.
And when a seat gets soaked, everyone calls a code yellow.
Code yellow, as you can imagine, you lose control of your bladder, let's say.
ACE members are self-proclaimed geeks. They don't just ride coasters, they study them. And hardcore acers know all the details, right down to the nuts and bolts that hold the ride together.
The spec on that is 4 millimeters.
So a lot of times we talk not just about statistics, but we talk about how a ride feels.
Yep.
We talk about the cars that you ride in. We talk about the restraints, all kinds of things. It's almost like a wine club comparing different kinds of wine.
Like surfers waiting for the perfect wave, acers live for the ultimate ride.
For me, what makes a good ride is brain overload. When you get on the ride and stuff is happening so fast around you that your brain can't take it all in.
Sometimes your brain and your senses can't keep up with what's actually happening to you.
And today's cutting-edge coasters twist the mind and pummel the body.
Feels like you're on an F-14 and coming in for a carrier landing.
In fact, coasters are about as close as most civilians will ever get to flying a fighter jet. When coaster riders hit 100 miles an hour on rails, they get a very real dose of what combat pilots experience. Commander Mitch Dukovich oversees the training center at Miramar Marine Corps Air Station outside San Diego.
And if you see somebody just floundering around looking a little bit disoriented,
Miramar is best known as the training ground for the Navy's elite fighter pilots, or Top Guns.
Tom Cruise came here to Miramar and went through all this water survival training.
At Miramar, pilots learn how speed and acceleration affect the body.
eject, eject, eject.
The same lessons apply to scream machines.
What we do here is we train aviators on correct body position to withstand those impact Gs, somewhere between 18 and 22 Gs.
The most important concept pilots must understand is gravitational forces, better known as G-forces, or Gs.
A G-force simply is a term for the force of gravity as it acts on the body, and that force of gravity is affected by acceleration.
Basically, the quicker the acceleration, the higher the G-force. The higher the G-force, the more pressure on the body, and it's all relative to body weight. If a coaster goes through a loop that hits 3 Gs, a rider feels 3 times his body weight pushing against him. If it hits 4 Gs, he's feeling 4 times his body weight.
So for a 200-pound man, you'd be feeling the forces of 800 pounds on your body.
To see evidence of G-forces, watch coaster riders who hold their hands up during a ride. When the coaster hits a tight turn or loop, their hands are forced down. That's the G-forces at work.
Going through those G-forces just presses you straight to your seat. The pressure goes straight to your head. Blood rush, adrenaline rush, it's great.
Most coasters create 2 types of Gs, positive and negative. Positive Gs force you down into the seat, like at the bottom of a monster hill.
At the bottom of that loop is where you're having the greatest force of positive G.
A negative G tries to lift you out of the seat, like speeding over the top of a hill.
The acceleration is on your body, and you continue to feel like you're going to go over the top and continue out into the air or to space.
I love the negative Gs most of all. I like the sensation of flying. I like the sensation of floating out of your seat.
But pushed to the limit, G-forces can be extremely dangerous. During positive Gs, blood is forced away from the brain, which can lead to loss of vision and eventually G-lock, the loss of consciousness.
The field of view, rather than being very wide, becomes narrow, as if you're looking through a tube, and it continues to get smaller and smaller until it eventually goes black.
So, does your heart truly skip a beat, or does it just feel that way? One Wired Rider is about to find out.
This TLC program is sponsored in part by Chrysler. We're reinventing the passion for driving.
Some experiences stay with you, like the feeling of driving this. Introducing the new Chrysler Sebring convertible with a 200 horsepower V6 engine and race-inspired suspension. It's an exhilarating experience that lingers. Now, well-qualified lessees can lease the Sebring LX convertible for $349 a month.
Oven toasting brings out the taste.
Quiznos subs are toasted for mouth-watering taste. Try our smoked turkey sub. Quiznos, oven toasted tastes better.
What are you doing? Who are you guys? You got the wrong guy.
Think this is harsh? Well, it's what you do to your car every day. All that stop-and-go driving is torture on your engine. But Pennzoil with Pure Base is formulated to protect against the harshness of all that stopping and starting. Stop-and-go protection from Pennzoil.
Buy 5 quarts of Pennzoil and a Purelator Premium Oil Filter at Pep Boys and get $3 back by mail.
The old slogan, "You've got a friend in the business," still, to me, encapsulates the Gateway brand. Because it says everything about honesty and Midwestern people being friendly and neighborly and not doing anything to a customer that you wouldn't want done to yourself. It's just all woven together. It is being a friend in the business.
Human drama.
Creativity.
Are you human?
April on TLC. Let's do it. A new age of robots begins.
You have to play to the crowd, right, guys?
We follow techno-crazed builders, putting together amazing robotic competitors.
Torch him.
Then they vie for the finals in TLC's futuristic arena.
We're looking forward to the fight.
4 wild challenges, a month of competition with Ahmed Zappa.
Go, robots, go!
Robotica begins April 4th on TLC.
What if you could earn your college degree from a leading accredited university, from home, at the office, or while traveling? At University of Phoenix Online, you attend class when and where you want via the internet. You learn from current industry leaders, and you can earn your degree in just 2 or 3 years, so you can start applying it toward your success. To learn more, call 877-386-GRAD or visit our website.
Ever wonder how Lens Express can sell brand-name contact lenses for so much less? Simple. No stores. Lens Express just has this big warehouse. So you call this number, and they can put your lenses right on an express truck. Then they drive them down the Lens Expressway and deliver them right to your door.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, great working with you.
Call 1-800-LENS-EXPRESS today. FedEx overnight delivery is available for an additional charge.
This is your body. And this is your body on a roller coaster. Today's scream machines create intense physical reactions.
You're coming down and you're picking up speed. Everything just slowly seems to be bunching up into this tiny little space in your chest. And then when you hit the bottom, everything just goes crashing back down to your feet again.
To produce those kinds of thrills, high-tech coasters include high speeds and sharp turns that produce as many as 5 Gs. That means a 200-pound person would feel 5 times his body weight, or 1,000 pounds of pressure. And that sounds dangerous. After all, if high G-forces can cause a jet pilot to black out, what can they do to you?
You're comparing an aircraft that's at 15,000 feet beginning a dive versus a roller coaster that may be 300 feet high. You just can't sustain the G-forces in a long enough fashion.
Bottom line, duration of the G-forces is the key. On a coaster, you're in and out of a high G-force turn in a second or less. Too short a time to have a long-term negative effect on your body, but still enough to make your head spin.
So you may see a beginning of a little gray out, a little vision affected by some of the newer roller coasters, but to sustain that type of duration of G-force for a long enough time to cause somebody to G-lock, it's very unlikely.
And while you may not feel the extreme effects of G-forces, you're definitely feeling something.
Your heart starts beating really fast. You know, knees get kind of weak and you get kind of woozy.
When that acceleration takes over, just knocks my head back, and it's almost like my brain leaves my body. It was just amazing.
Anytime you put yourself in extreme danger, your body starts to take over the functions that are usually processed by your mind.
Dr. Margaret King is a cultural analyst known as Dr. Thrill. She and her husband, Jamie O'Boyle, have conducted extensive studies on the physical and mental responses to thrill rides at some of America's biggest theme parks.
All the signals that it's getting from gravity and from the speed and from the drops and from the banking of the cars is that this really is an extreme situation and something needs to be done.
This triggers the classic flight or fight impulse.
Our usual impulse is to escape, is to go away. But if we can't go away and we have to face it, then the fight kicks in.
In this case, the fight mode forces the body to go into overdrive.
What happens is the heart rate speeds up, your adrenaline system kicks in, your blood pressure rises, your hands get sweaty. For many people, they experience dry mouth. Your digestion system shuts down because your blood's being pumped elsewhere.
To find out exactly how the human body reacts to a thrill ride, a heart monitor is hooked up to a coaster rider. Tal Rabinowitz has never experienced Six Flags Magic Mountain's Goliath, one of the world's most chilling rides, with a 255-foot first drop and speeds of 85 miles per hour.
And we're going to push the black bead for your left arm.
A medical technician attaches 3 sensors to pressure points on Tal's body. The sensors detect her heart's electronic impulses and send the information through wires to a portable heart monitor. It provides an electronic image of the heartbeat and a hard copy printout that shows changes in heart rate. This is what Tal's heartbeat looks like before the ride. The spikes, which represent each heartbeat, are spaced out evenly at about 60 beats per minute. As the heart rate increases, the spikes will be closer together and the line more jagged. As Tal prepares to board Goliath, the monitor already shows an increase in heart rate. The anticipation has boosted her heart rate to 75 beats per minute. Tal takes the front seat for maximum effect. The monitor is secured, connections are checked, and it's time to take the plunge.
Go.
Follow her heart rate at the bottom of the screen. Notice the dramatic changes during the scariest parts of the ride. On the first drop, the EKG line goes crazy, and Tal's heart rate jumps to almost 150 beats per minute.
As the blood pressure begins to drop in the brain and in the eyes, the body will compensate for that by stimulating the heart to pump faster.
Later in the ride, Goliath's spiraling turns again send the EKG line out of control. Her heartbeat at this point hits nearly 140 beats per minute. After elevating her heartbeat to levels usually associated with intense aerobic activity, Tal's heartbeat returns to normal shortly after the ride is over. But the experience will continue.
Up to an hour after the ride experience, you are still euphoric. You're still feeling the effects, the after effects of that ride. They are lifelong effects. And there are not many experiences that are 90-second experiences that give you that lifetime payoff. This is one of them. It's very powerful.
Every great thrill ride is based on keeping the brain in constant sensory overload. So Scream Machines are as much about head games as they are about body slams.
Some of the best coasters in the world, some of the smallest coasters in the world, it's not always about height, it's about the elements, about the pacing of the coaster that really make a great ride.
My favorite kinds of rides are the ones where it's a completely immersive experience, where you go and you go into another world, literally. You're just living this moment right now, and it's just a complete rush.
Kevin Parent is the mad scientist of thrill rides.
I design rides and pieces of rides for folks all over the world. Work a lot for Disney and Universal and lots of little places.
Kevin knows every thrill ride trick in the book, all of which are based on 3 carefully protected thrill ride secrets: illusion, anticipation, and surprise.
We call them snap, crackle, and pop traditionally.
You may not realize it, but your mind is being manipulated before you even get on the ride.
Your imagination about what something's going to be like is usually kind of worse than it is. So what we're trying to do is bring the guest along through the experience, kind of building up his courage, and at the end he comes out a hero and he feels great and he gets back in line again.
It's no accident that those waiting in line see and hear plenty of screaming riders ahead of them.
Seeing ahead, seeing the guests ahead of you going down the big drop and screaming their heads off, that's what it's all about.
And that same element of anticipation works just as effectively when you're on the ride.
Think about the scariest part of the ride for most people, at least for me, is going up the big lift. You know, I think that's scarier than any of the maneuvers.
Designers trick your brain into thinking you're going faster than you really are by sneaking in some simple optical illusions. Their favorite trick? Place objects near the track to increase the feeling of speed. This is why slower wooden coasters often feel faster than metal ones. Riders on a wooden coaster see the support beams flying by right next to them. On a metal coaster, there's often no reference point. Coaster designers also use trees and even other coasters for the same effect.
How close you come to another vehicle, how close you come to the trees, how close you come to the ground, these sort of things all enhance the sense of thrill and experience.
Other sneaky tricks include tunnels and obstructions. Those low-hanging beams are known as head choppers because even though they're at a safe distance, they look like they'll knock your head off.
Most of the time I put my hands down because for some reason I'm just so afraid that, you know, that someone's gonna get chopped off or something.
Combine terrifying speed, height, and turns. Then add a few hidden tricks that push riders over the top. It's what Kevin Parent believes is the difference between a ride and an experience.
I think of all rides as telling a story with the guest as the antagonist, the hero of the story. And so it has to have a rhythm, just like any story does, to keep you involved and keep you going to the next place and to the next place.
So why do we line up for this kind of terrifying punishment? That may be the biggest Scream Machine trick of them all.
Digitally record 2 shows at the same time. Only with Ultimate TV. Watch what you can do.
So all you need to do is hook up your Model A43 desktops to a bunch of 148-2 MIPS-C1 Ethernet connectors. Then you add your 44 GIP stop-to-fiber USB SCSI cables to your eServer's application engine architecture on the LAN Opta branch. You're supporting the Delta, and naturally the whole thing's uplinked to the multitasking broadband.
Fortunately, 3Com's new networking products are engineered to be understandable, so you'll quickly figure out how to get the most out of the internet.
You still with me? Good, because now it gets complicated. You take your Gigaline Hexport Mega switches...
3Com. Simple sets you free.
Lisa?
Tom,
Nice to meet you. I got a little held up at work.
where's that?
LA. Introducing the 260 horsepower Acura TL Type S.
Fred, can you get the new software that IT didn't approve?
I opened that virus just like IT told us not to.
At CDW, we understand what it can be like in IT. That's why we have top name brands in stock, so you get the solutions you need when you need them. Like the HP OmniBook 500 notebook computer, ultra portable and backed by HP's world-class support.
Hey, Fred, you remember those upgrades I forgot to tell you about, right? Good.
HP and CDW, computing solutions built for business.
I have serious doubts about making the airport.
When you break the rules of physics, the plane comes down. When you break the rules of society, the cops come down. And when you break the rules in prison, you go to Supermax. Air disasters, police videos, and Supermax. Sunday night at 8 on TLC. One man's trash is another man's amphibious vehicle.
Is it a boat or is it a cow?
I don't think we need the radio. Yeah, that'll do.
Finally, there's good trash on television. Junkyard Wars, Monday night on TLC.
Superhuman. Hand transplant. Gene therapy.
Human engineering.
TLC
Brings you the future. The future.
Superhuman Body. Next Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 on TLC. April on TLC.
Let's do it.
A new age of robots begins.
You have to play to the crowd, right, guys?
We follow techno-crazed builders, putting together amazing robotic competitors.
Torch him.
Then they vie for the finals in TLC's futuristic arena.
We're looking forward to the fight.
4 wild challenges, a month of competition with Ahmed Zappa.
Go, robots, go!
Robotica begins April 4th on TLC.
Dizzying heights, wicked turns, and gut-wrenching loops. Top screen machines must have the perfect mix of elements to terrify us and keep us coming back for more.
So it's really about having that magic balance of looking really scary, having all the anticipation, and then getting off and just being thrilled you did it and just feeling like a hero.
Woo! Yeah, awesome.
I really believe that, you know, we're making heroes out of every guest we put on the ride. And because they come back and they say, hey, I did that, I'm great.
Oddly enough, uncontrollable screaming might build character.
The reason that we go in for terror is because as human beings, we need to test our limits. It's not enough for us to go through our day and do our jobs and relate to other people. What we need to do all the time is push the envelope.
According to Dr. King and her husband, cultural analyst Jamie O'Boyle, we ride coasters for one simple reason. It gives us a sense of accomplishment.
We don't build self-esteem by playing it safe. What you need to do is find opportunities. There are not many of them in our society, but roller coasters are one of those opportunities to really push against the boundaries of safety.
This is especially true for the 16 to 22-year-old age group, which accounts for about 80% of the coaster crowd. At that age, young people are searching for ways to establish their identities.
This is a need that you have to actually move away, test your limits, find out who you are, become an individual. These thrill parks fill that need very effectively.
And according to Dr. King, most people don't fulfill that need alone.
You get groups of people going on coasters, or you get couples. Rarely do you get individuals by themselves going on a coaster, because then who do you share the exhilaration with? Who do you share the triumph with?
And who do you share the screaming with? Screaming on a thrill ride may seem like just a gut reaction, but King and O'Boyle believe that screaming is a primitive way we still use to communicate. In fact, they've identified several varieties of screams, each with a different pitch and a different meaning. The first is a release scream, which begins at the top of the first hill.
So one, it's a release. It's a burst of energy coming out of you. And the second is, it's a signal to everyone else in the group who starts doing this. You rarely get one person screaming alone on this coaster, and it comes in waves.
On the hills and loops that follow comes a series of short communication screams. These are brief outbursts that say everything is okay.
Reinforcement for the group that we're all having the same experience, and it's a boost to help you get through it.
As the ride ends and the coaster rolls into the station, the victorious exhilaration screams are released.
And the final one at the end is just a triumph with the arms raised straight up in the air, and that's a real social acknowledgement as well to the rest of the group.
It's a great way to relieve stress, and it's one of the only places in society where you're actually allowed to scream out loud and not get carted away.
But surprisingly, the ride itself is not what gives coaster crazies the high they crave.
Actually, the height of the coaster experience is not on the ride itself. It's after the ride. You've gotten off the ride, you're walking back down the ramp, and you feel this incredible rush, and that's all of the endorphins continuing to kick in. The adrenaline is active in your system.
It's like a big rush. Like once it's over with, then everything connects, and it's like you start thinking about what you just been through, and it's just like a big rush at the end.
It's an extreme experience, and yeah, you feel like you've done something that, you know, an average person can't do. A lot of people are still afraid to ride roller coasters. It's a test of manhood or womanhood, as it were.
But not everyone is willing to take that test. For millions of Americans, being out of control on a coaster is simply out of the question.
I look at it and it's intimidating, to say the least.
Tom Drusdis hasn't been on a roller coaster since 1959.
My wife and I would be at a park, and she'd say, well, let's ride the roller coaster, and I'd say, that would be great for you. Let me get your ticket, and I'd put her on it, and I'd just stand there and wave and smile at her, but I wouldn't ride it.
Coaster phobics, those afraid to ride coasters, often say the worst part about not riding is missing out on the fun with family and friends.
I'm tired of being left on the sides holding the soda. I want to participate. I want to be part of that crowd that is laughing and having this great time going on and off the rides, you know. I want to go and be a part of it all.
Orlando's Islands of Adventure theme park wants to help. Their one-day stress management course is designed to help coaster phobics deal with their fears. Dr. Brian Newmark is one of the program's Harvard-trained psychologists.
And yet I didn't look at it as I'm dying. They need to know that thrill rides are about the illusion of danger, not the real danger.
Just how dangerous are these rides? The International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions says the odds of being killed in a coaster-related accident are 1 in 250 million.
Safety is our #1 concern out here. Our rides are designed to feel as if they're scary, but they're actually as safe as they can be. We have hundreds of engineers. We've left no stone unturned.
That you get strapped in, so there's...
To convince these reluctant riders they'll come back alive, the restraint systems and other safety measures are carefully outlined to the class.
Metal harness, and you're really in place. It's very comfortable. And roll.
Next, the class practices rolling their heads, getting their bodies used to the movement they'll experience on the coaster. Then, they'll take a simulated ride, watching a video of the coaster's course while holding on to imaginary restraints. Even this small step can be traumatic.
Watching the video in there, it brought tears to my eyes. You know, I was just crying. I was like, ooh.
Finally, the class is ready for the real thing, and they don't start out slowly. This is the Incredible Hulk. It catapults riders from 0 to 42 miles per hour in 2 seconds, launching them into an immediate 180-degree roll. It is 2 minutes and 15 seconds of sheer terror. As promised, the Incredible Hulk dishes out a beating. The riders all return shaken, but very much alive.
Awesome. That was like, it was smooth. I'm still shaking, but it was cool.
But would they do it again?
Yeah, I'll do it again right now before I lose my courage again.
I did it the first time. I can do it again.
First time was scary. Second time was worse. I'd do it again, I think. I know if I didn't get on the second time, I'd never ride one again.
It may seem like a small step, but for lifetime coaster-phobics like Greg Edge, this was no small accomplishment.
41 years worth of fear went out on that ride right there, just now. If my stomach wasn't so queasy, I'd feel like $1 million.
Next, the nuts and bolts behind building the perfect monster.
Axe, $60. Platter, $40. Tuxedo, $400. Losing yourself in a movie, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard, accepted at a theater near you.
Oven toasting brings out the taste.
Quiznos subs are toasted for mouth-watering taste. Try our smoked turkey sub with roasted red pepper sauce on rosemary Parmesan bread. Quiznos. Oven toasted tastes better.
Over 17 years ago, the Chrysler minivan was born. A vehicle so revolutionary, it quickly became part of the American landscape. Today, the re-engineered and redesigned Chrysler Voyager continues to define the shape of family travel. Even with innovations like dual sliding doors and over 45 standard safety and security features, it's still the most affordable minivan you can buy. Now get a $1,500 cash allowance or 0.9% APR financing on Chrysler Voyager.
Here, right now, right here, right now.
Are you human?
Next on TLC.
What almost killed him was a company's negligence and irresponsibility.
A safe technology was not employed.
Criminal intrigue and the high-tech methods employed to bring the perpetrator to justice. Medical detectives. Next, only here on TLC.
Look closely. Can you tell the difference between these two contact lenses? They're the same prescription, the same brand name. But this lens cost 50% less and was delivered right to my front door. That's the Lens Express difference. Great savings and great service. Hi, I'm Linda Carter. I wear contact lenses, and I wouldn't trust these eyes to just anyone. I call Lens Express and get my replacement contacts delivered to me the very next day. It's terrific.
Call for this free Lens Express catalog. It's full of savings on contact lenses. All the top brands, like AccuView, Ciba, Bausch & Lomb, Wesley Jessen. And because they're sent directly to you, you'll save up to 50% off the retail price.
I trust these baby blues to Lens Express. Look closely, and you'll see one very satisfied customer.
Now you can replace your contacts as often as your doctor recommends and save. Call for a free Lens Express catalog.
If there is a cradle of roller coasters in America, it is New York's Coney Island. The first coaster in America was built here in 1884. For coaster fanatics, this is hallowed ground.
Everybody has to go to Coney Island. Coney Island is the place where the roller coaster was invented. It's the mecca for roller coaster enthusiasts.
Coney Island still has its original wooden coaster from 1927, the Cyclone. Today, wooden coasters can do things never imagined in the 20s. King Island's Son of Beast, outside Cincinnati, reaches record-shattering heights. It's a head-spinning 218 feet high with a 214-foot drop.
I was looking at the drop the whole time I was rolling towards it up there and just thinking, oh my God, a 214-foot drop on a wood coaster. Here we go, you know, and it was everything I thought it would be.
But what's even more scary is that Son of Beast is the first wooden coaster ever to go upside down in a 360-degree loop. That's a feat that was once thought impossible for wooden coasters.
It was actually worked very well. It was a very smooth loop. It was one of the best inversions I've ever been on in any coaster, wood or steel.
It's no coincidence that Son of Beast is known in coaster circles as SOB. It is the largest wooden coaster structure in the world, using more than 473 miles of timber. And the wood will never be able to match the multiple inversions of metal. The classic wooden coaster, or Woody, still holds a place in coaster lovers' hearts.
I like wooden better just because how it rattles and shakes and how you can actually see some of the structures move when the roller coaster goes around it.
In the early days, there were only traditional wooden coasters. Today, there are roughly 30 different varieties. Metal coasters, suspended coasters, stand-up coasters, and shuttle coasters, just to name a few. Thrill parks have even had to create new names. Hypercoasters are any rides over 200 feet high. And if it tops 300 feet, it's called a gigacoaster. Yet despite the different names and pretzel-like configurations, all roller coasters work on the same principle.
We put a bunch of energy into the vehicle at the beginning by taking it up to the top of a big hill, and then we let it roll and coast all the way back to the station. It's basically an energy exchange. We put energy in at the beginning and we get it back out as speed all the way through the ride.
To pull the cars to the top, most rides use a chain and sprocket system, just like a bicycle, only heavier. But that familiar clicking of the chain is being replaced, on some rides, by a whoosh. The whooshing sound comes from the instant speed created by linear synchronous motors, or LSMs. These systems use electromagnets to launch the cars. A series of magnets inside the track attract metal plates attached to the bottom of the cars. As the car passes overhead, the magnets repel the cars from the other direction.
They kind of increase the efficiency of your attraction because they get you up to speed fast, so you get right up to the excitement right out of the station in a lot of cases.
But regardless of whether an LSM or a chain gets you to the top, there's only one way to get you to the bottom: gravity. Coasters don't fly off the track during intense maneuvers because of a three-wheel system.
First are the road wheels, and they support the load of the vehicle like in the station, just like your car. Then they have side guide wheels, which keep the vehicle centered on the track and guide it through its maneuvers. Finally, there's upstop wheels, and those are to keep the vehicle from coming off the track in radical maneuvers or upside-down inverted maneuvers.
Coaster wheels are made from polycarbonate, but that substance can wear out quickly on a high-speed coaster. So developing a new wheel substance has become a top priority for coaster designers.
In the current very high-end coasters, you've got to maintain, replace wheels pretty often. We've heard quotes where you have to replace some wheels on hot days every day. I'm working on some projects now to try to bring that technology to the next level that will allow coasters to do the 100-mile-an-hour, 120-mile-an-hour sort of experience.
The cutting-edge technology and cost of materials can push the price of a new thrill ride above $25 million. For amusement parks, it's worth it, since a new attraction can increase attendance by more than 10%.
We do need to keep current, and the guests want to have a reason to come back again, and that's what those major attractions do.
When a theme park wants a new ride, it turns to one of the handful of companies in the world that builds them. One of the oldest and most experienced is Arrow-Dynamics in Clearfield, Utah.
Arrows are known for lots of loops, steep drops, sudden changes in direction.
Arrow was the first to bend steel pipe, paving the way for the first looping coaster. They also built the first coaster to top the 200-foot mark.
Generally, a customer comes to us and has an idea. They want a new ride for their park for the coming year or in the future.
Before creating a new coaster, designer Kent Seiko has to first consider the age group the park is targeting, which will determine if a ride should be tame or terrifying. Then, it's a matter of space and money.
Ideally, you would want a nice flat side and have unlimited space and an unlimited budget, but that rarely happens.
Seiko faced a difficult challenge when Dollywood, Dolly Parton's theme park in Tennessee's Smoky Mountains, turned to him for a new looping coaster. The surrounding mountains left him little space to work with. The solution was to use the park's extreme landscaping in the design.
The park sent us this topography map showing us the ground levels at various heights along the mountain.
Using a computerized topographical map, a ride was designed that not only took advantage of the contours of the surrounding hills, but even tunneled right into the side of the mountain.
This shows the ride situated on the site. You can see the tunnel there and how the rest of the ride closely follows the contours of the existing ground.
Once the layout is complete, a computer program calculates the speed and G-forces of each twist and turn.
You hit the bottom of the first drop and you're pushing 3.5 plus Gs. You're going at the fastest point in the ride, which is approximately 61 miles an hour.
Seiko's calculations must be as precise as possible if he wants to find that perfect balance between thrills and terror.
For enthusiasts, I think G-forces are something to be desired. Roughness is a different issue. Roughness is a problem, and there's a lot of coasters that people won't ride anymore.
Once the design is approved, Arrow begins building each component of the coaster in its own factory. Lengths of track are transported to the theme park and assembled like a giant erector set. When all the sections are in place, the testing begins.
Once the ride's installed, we typically have several weeks of testing where every component, every feature of the ride is tested and retested to make sure that it's operating properly.
A mere 16 months after Dollywood first approached Arrow-Dynamics, the new Tennessee Tornado coaster is ready to roll.
It's got good speed, good height, fantastic.
It's probably the smoothest aerodynamic looping coaster on the planet.
For designers, comments like these are the ultimate payoff.
When you hear people or families or kids or teenagers say, "That was so fun, let's go and ride this again," then you know you've done a successful ride.
Designers often hang out around ride exits to witness responses from riders. Designer Kevin Parent takes the practice to extremes.
I installed a phone at one of the big drops of the ride, and I could, in my receiver, 1,000 miles away, listen to the guests screaming every 38 seconds. And just like, that was the rush, right? And I'm having a bad day for whatever reason, dial this number, pick up the phone, hear him scream, say, yeah, okay, that's what it's all about.
How much faster? How much higher? How much wilder can the coaster craze get? The future of Scream Machines, next.
The
mission of Underwriters Laboratories is testing for public safety.
We test chemicals,
Appliances, life preservers, more than 17,000 different products.
I get paid to break things.
They pretty much destroy them.
Yeah, we do some of that.
We break things scientifically.
Safety is the #1 concern.
My specialty is cathode ray tubes.
Valves, organic, high voltage, drinking water.
I start fires.
I feel like I'm making a contribution. I'm not going to say it's a piece of cake.
It's a privilege to help consumers buy and use safer products.
UL, working for a safer world.
Will she feel the same way if you lose your hair?
Sure. She'll just feel it about somebody else.
Don't worry, I love you.
Anyway, you don't have to lose it.
Are you talking about Rogaine?
Rogaine? Maybe. Why not?
Rogaine. Yeah, why not? It's simple, it's safe, and it's clinically proven to help stop hair loss and regrow hair. Does she want you to use Rogaine? Better ask.
Oven toasting brings out the taste.
Quiznos subs are toasted for mouth-watering taste. Try our smoked turkey sub. Quiznos, oven toasted tastes better.
Some experiences stay with you, like the feeling of driving this. Introducing the new Chrysler Sebring convertible. With a 200-horsepower V6 engine and race-inspired suspension, it's an exhilarating experience that lingers. Now, well-qualified lessees can lease the Sebring LX convertible for $349 a month.
Every person on this planet, no matter how big or small, is filled with potential. Every mind, whether it exists in wealth or poverty, has the ability to think great thoughts. Every idea, no matter who it comes from, is full of possibilities. Cargill believes this potential must be nourished, because the better we are fed, the more we hunger to achieve.
Next on TLC.
What almost killed him was a company's negligence and irresponsibility.
A safe technology was not employed.
Criminal intrigue and the high-tech methods employed to bring the perpetrator to justice. Medical detectives. Next, only here on TLC.
I have serious doubts about making the airport.
When you break the rules of physics, the plane comes down. When you break the rules of society, the cops come down. And when you break the rules in prison, you go to Supermax. Air disasters, police videos, and Supermax. Sunday night at 8 on TLC. One man's trash is another man's amphibious vehicle.
Is it a boat or is it a car?
I don't think we need the radio.
Yeah, that'll do. Finally, there's good trash on television. Junkyard Wars, Monday night on TLC.
What does your future hold?
Transformation.
Regeneration.
Modern
engineering.
TLC
brings you the future.
Next Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 on TLC.
It's indescribable. It's like the best thing.
If you've ever wanted to design your own personal scream machine, this might be your chance.
Do not die without trying this, man.
Surprisingly, this isn't a roller coaster at all. It's a computer simulator that allows riders to design their own track by selecting the loops and turns. The rider then climbs into an enclosed coaster car to watch a computer-generated video of the course as the car is mechanically twisted and turned.
You could do whatever you want, make it go upside down a million times, go backwards to loop.
These simulated thrill rides are popping up in shopping malls and even Las Vegas casinos. It's the same technology that has been used for years to train pilots.
Vision component is so important to your sensory system that all you need to do is put a little bit of motion into a seat and it just reinforces what the eyes are seeing, and now you believe you're there.
Theme parks are taking the simulator idea to the next level, building state-of-the-art attractions tied to popular movies. Many see these rides as companions or even successors to coasters.
I really see us getting people more and more immersed in the technological aspect of our attractions. I think that's what our future is in this business.
Because it's an enclosed space, these simulator rides can't duplicate the 100-foot drops of a coaster, but they can create the illusion of even greater thrills.
Simulators can take you into a fantasy environment that doesn't exist in the real world. No ride in the world can take you on a 400-foot plunge off a building. Those things are what simulators have over roller coasters. Be careful.
The Adventures of Spider-Man at Orlando's Islands of Adventure is a mini roller coaster with sensory overload. Riding in coaster-type cars and wearing 3D glasses, passengers enter a world of cutting-edge animation, lighting, sound, and special effects, essentially becoming characters in the movie.
We've taken a tremendous motion-based vehicle, we've combined it with 3D film and thrown special effects in, things that have never been done before where we're combining different technologies.
Many believe these indoor roller coasters, which bombard the senses, are what will be needed to satisfy future generations of thrill seekers.
The bad rap against teenagers today is that they have a short attention span. In fact, because they were raised on quick-cut MTV, computer speed information from around the world, they can actually absorb whole themes faster than my generation can. Right now we're in the middle of an echo boom, which means there's a whole new generation that is going to hit teenage years in about 2010 that's going to need more of this.
For purists, simulated rides are a nice compliment, but will never replace the wind in the hair excitement of an outdoor thrill ride.
Simulators are a fun ride, but the best simulator in the world can't give you the experience that the worst roller coaster in the world can give you. You can't match the full wraparound 3D sound and visuals and G-forces that you get on a roller coaster.
Nothing beats the visceral feeling of going 60 miles an hour straight down or upside down for real.
But with coasters already going 100 miles per hour and standing 300 feet high, what's the next pinnacle?
400 feet tall, maybe 120 miles an hour.
200 miles an hour to 800 feet.
Others believe the future is in innovation, taking the conventional coaster and giving it a new twist. Flying coasters like Stealth, for example.
I think that's really the way the coaster industry is going to go, because when you ride Stealth, it's just incredible. Just blown away, speechless how good it is.
We've done stand-up coasters, we've done overhead hanging coasters. There's other ways you could go through a ride. You can go through a ride face down, you can go through a ride face up, you could go through a ride, I don't know, hanging by your ankles.
Aerodynamics is currently creating a prototype for a new screen machine called Arrow-Batic. This suspended coaster staggers seating so every rider has an unobstructed view. And because of this unique design, it can make sharper movements and do something no roller coaster has ever done: drop straight down.
It's something we're allowed to do because we're only dealing with one vehicle.
A rival company, Vekoma, is also developing a ride with 90-degree drops. The cliffhanger tilt coaster holds a train on a piece of track, tilts it upright, and drops the train straight down. Another Vekoma project called Hammerhead Stall would put two planes on the same track and simulate weightlessness when they stall. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, in the competitive screen machine business, revolutionary new designs are closely guarded secrets.
It's top secret, so to speak, what's coming up next, but with today's technology and the implementation of computers and new equipment, it's going to be really exciting to see what comes up in the future.
And who knows, maybe in years to come, the most exciting ride on the planet may not even be on the planet.
Maybe in my generation, maybe my kids' generation, you're going to be able to go to space. You're going to be able to, get on a rocket, and there's a thrill ride for you right there. What is it like to have a roller coaster on the moon? What would that be like?
As long as designers like Kevin Parent are inspired to dream, the rest of us will continue to scream.
Next on TLC.
What almost killed him was a company's negligence and irresponsibility.
A safe technology was not employed.
Criminal intrigue and the high-tech methods employed to bring the perpetrator to justice. Medical detectives. Next, only here on TLC.
I have serious doubts about making the airport.
When you break the rules of physics, the plane comes down. When you break the rules of society, the cops come down. And when you break the rules in prison, you go to Supermax. Air disasters, police videos, and Supermax. Sunday night at 8 on TLC.